What's up, guys? So today I wanted to teach you a skill that I learned on my last film that I directed, and that is how to direct a film without a script. I'll show you how I did it. So today I wanted to talk about my most recent film, Dream Interpreter. Now, this film did have a script, but I'm going to tell you guys today how we basically operated completely without it. I'm going to tell you guys how I kind of worked through that as a director and how I would direct actors through each scene. I shot Dream Interpreter with the 5/8 Film guys. Go check out their channel up here or down in the description. Go watch it, come back here, finish this video, then go watch it, whatever you prefer. Point is, I learned a lot making this film, but the biggest thing I think I learned was how to understand the context of each scene as you go through the film and understanding its purpose in the film. That's something that was really important and I think a good starting point for this video. Understanding intention. Dream Interpreter is almost like a mini Odyssey film. It takes our main character Jerry through this strange, modern, magical world. He talks to various wild characters and navigates through the world to clean up an issue of his own making. So two things. For me, I think the more sincere something is, the more funny it is. Finding like actually funny people is the key to making comedy work. And something we learned pretty early on is that we had really funny actors that were really good at improv. So we kind of leaned into that. Improv really is one of my favorite styles of comedy. I think you just find sincerity really easy because it just feels more natural. So we decided early on that we would still follow the script, but when it came to dialogue, that was free game. What's the purpose of the scene? How does it start? And how does its ending set up the next scene? That was something we constantly asked ourselves in the writing process. And even in the edit, we would ask ourselves this question so much, in fact, that we actually removed an entire scene because we realized that it had zero reason to be in the film. Learning this lesson was huge because it's so annoying when a film wastes your time with scenes that don't matter. You know, like there's a difference between it being funny, but like if you're just being self-indulgent, you know, like you're really not saying anything interesting, you're not progressing the story in any way, that can be really frustrating. And I think that learning this lesson is going to make our films feel a lot more precise going into it. You know, there's not going to be any wasted time. You're not wasting your time shooting scenes that don't matter. You're not wasting the audience's time watching something that doesn't really matter to the story. And I think that's important because I think that's when people start to tune out. I feel it in movie theaters now when that happens. When there's a scene in a movie that is so useless and has 0 point to the film, I can feel a movie theater, like everyone in the movie theater start to check out. It's just like our souls are like lost. Like we just are like, oh my God, it doesn't matter. So you can tell too, like when good movies you're so locked in the whole time, it's because every stinking thing matters. Especially on short films, it's very important too because there's no waste of time. You can't spend any waste of time on a short film. That's why it's short. So we understand the intention of each scene now, but the next step is communicating that to the actors. I think the best example of this is when Lily came in during her scene, the big moment in the film when Jerry is finding out that his client is having dreams about killing him with hammers. I loved that idea when I read the script. This sets the film up in a lot of ways. In the script, it was a lot more tame and a controlled scene. Jerry was scared, but it didn't feel very earned. So my understanding of the scene was that we needed it to feel dire. So I communicated that to Lily, that she needed to be a massive threat in the film. And she took that idea and ran with it.
I have a hammer in my hand, and I just bash your face in until you're unrecognizable. I grab the scissors, and I snip each ball.
The scene was completely improvised. None of that she talks about is in the script at all. I just remember we stopped recording, and I looked at Sean, who was behind the camera with me, and we both kind of just like had that feeling of like, oh yeah, the scene's gonna be really good. We wrote in the script that he was going to pee his pants at the end of it, and I just felt like he needed to earn that. We needed as filmmakers to make sure that him peeing his pants made sense in the context of what happened. So her saying the most vile things to him and him just kind of hearing all of this and all the nasty things that's going to be done to him really helps earn the fact that he pees himself at the end. I think just knowing what your scene is about, describing that to the actor, they'll figure it out. They'll find a way to process what you've said and spurt it out in their interpretation of it. And it's really cool because it just comes out in a natural way that you didn't expect. And it makes you almost like it more because it isn't what you expected. It's like, it's something new and unexpected and it's better. So here's an interesting tidbit that we learned that maybe doesn't always apply to every situation, but we found it really good to start with a wide. And that means like when we started shooting a scene, we would start with the biggest, widest angle of the scene. The actors understood what the scene was and how the overall flow of it would be and how I would understand it as well. That way I can understand, oh, I got to get in here, get an insert, I got to get a close up here, I got to get a close up over here. You kind of understand what are the important parts of the scene. And I almost think that I might do this on all my future films, is just start on a wide. Something that we kind of started to use as we were going through the film is we started establishing certain lines that would be like triggers to your scene partner to be like, hey, I'm out of improvising. It's time to move on through the scene and move on to the next part of the scene. For example, Sean and Danielle, their intention of the scene was to make Dean feel very uncomfortable with them talking about very personal things back and forth. And it wasn't scripted. It was just them going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth at each other. But we wanted to establish a way to end the scene as well. So Danielle had a line where she says, "You're not a wizard, Harry." And that would be the end of that part of the scene. And then they would move on to the next part. So we carried this rule throughout every scene. And I think it really worked because it allowed the actors to be as funny and comfortable as they possibly could. And I think that made it a really fun environment to be in because it was just kind of like, let's just goof around for a little bit and then we'll get to the nitty gritty. It gave a safety net for the actors and I think they really enjoyed that. So there it is, guys. That's how we essentially shot Dream Interpreter without a script. It really came down to a very basic filmmaking thing of just trying to find the comedic moment, trying to find the dramatic moment, trying to just find the moment in the scene rather than just spitting out what the script has said, but rather trying to find what the script's intending. So that's what I challenge you guys to do for your next film, is to really dig deep and trying to find the intention of each scene so that you can make your film better. Go check out Dream Interpreter, learn from it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Really, really appreciate you watching to the end, and I will see you on the next one. Peace. What?